Hey, it's Yom Teruah, the day of trumpets. Or is it Rosh Hashanah, head of the year? How do you know? Um, what we do know is that somebody somewhere is having an argument over this. Is Rosh Hashanah a pagan Babylonian tradition? Who knows? I've never seen any evidence one way or another about it. And honestly, I don't think anybody ever has. And I don't care if it comes from Nehemiah Gordon or Lou White or Thomas Jefferson. If the only evidence that a tradition is pagan is from a book written in the 20th or 19th or whatever century, then there's no evidence at all. That's not evidence, that's just somebody saying something, and anybody can write anything. That has no more authority than if you or I just made it up and wrote a fiction book and said it was pagan. The name means Rosh Hashanah, it refers to the new year. And maybe you disagree with calling Yom Teruah, the day of trumpets, Rosh Hashanah or the new year, and that's fine. Nobody's making you call it that. But there are some good biblical reasons for it, even if you disagree with them. If God has convicted you that you shouldn't call Yom Teruah Rosh Hashanah, that's fine. I have no argument with that at all. But unless you are claiming to be a prophet of God to all the people, you've got no business telling everybody else they're not allowed to say Rosh Hashanah, because then you're taking God's name in vain by claiming to be a prophet speaking for God, and you're adding to the Torah. So in trying to make people keep the Torah, you yourself are violating it in at least two ways. Like I said, nobody's forcing you to use one name or the other. There's no commandment that says nobody's allowed to call the day Rosh Hashanah or New Year. Let's go back to the Babylonian thing for a second. If the Babylonians have a new year at this same time of year, and maybe they call it head of the year, does that mean that having a day called head of the year at this time of year is pagan? Of course not. What if the Babylonians had a new year at the first day of Nisan in the spring? Well, God says to call that first of the months. Is it pagan then to call it first of the months because Babylonians do? And they do, by the way. They do have a new year at the same time as God said to call this the first of your months. Just because pagans do something doesn't make it pagan. It doesn't make it wrong. Pagans speak, they breathe, they eat. None of those things are pagan just because pagans do them. So we need to give people some space. We need to let people come to the truth, especially when the truth, or when what we believe is the truth, is not spelled out explicitly in Scripture. Nowhere does it say you are not allowed to call this day anything but this name. So why does it bother you if they do? If it bothers you so much that you want to fight about it and you'll disfellowship with people because they're doing something that God didn't say, don't ever do that. Maybe the problem is actually you.